Welcome to the top of the 10th. We got a barn buster for you.
Yeah. Welcome to episode 2 of Top of the 10th, where we have figured out how to show us, and it's easy to tell who is who.
Is it?
We
Well, yep.
have leveled up.
Well, I mean, okay. Well, here, let's do the top 5 typical roll call. Then
Oh,
it's
you even put us in
easy to tell
order.
who's who. I did, yeah. I know.
That makes it a little
It
easier.
does. Starting off, I am your first overall total tile of the Oakland A's.
I am second overall pick, Cole Slaw of Miami Marlins.
Hey, I am CJ of your Toronto Blue Jays.
Fourth overall pick, DVD, Dan Van Dam, at your service.
Coming in last and certainly least, your 5th overall pick, Copernicus.
Woo! And welcome to episode 2 of Top of the 10th, where I believe on deck we have my question for all of you to respond
Now,
to.
before we get into that, I think we should give ourselves a hearty pat on the back. Who doesn't love congratulating ourselves? But here's to our second episode.
We did it eventually.
Yeah.
We did it, everybody.
It took some time, but we found it. And we're all through we're just about done with session 5, I think.
Oh God, don't start the drama.
Well, no, I'm just saying.
If Colorado can
You know,
finish,
yeah, can Colorado
Just about
finish?
very
I think
generous
everybody's
term.
asking that.
the question
Yeah.
on everybody's mind.
No. We are not going to talk about the length of games. For
Don't
Should
worry,
we talk
I'm
about
saving that for mine. Yeah.
Should we talk about
we'll
expansion
save it
teams?
for later. We're going to talk about expanding the league to 49 teams.
Okay, good.
But for
49 teams.
Yeah, exactly 49 teams.
It has to be a prime number so they can't actually split it into divisions.
Yeah. But we are going to talk a lot about anxiety and stress on a MLR podcast. So, one thing that I have found that as we've gone from FCB to MLR is that I get very stressed out during my at-bats and during very close games. I do know that Copernicus can attest to this, that during our speed game in a MILR, I had to put my phone down because I was so stressed out about how fast things were going, how fast I had to, being a co-GM and Mark was gone, I had to be the one to sub people in and out, which I was like doing that and work at the same time, and work was bad. But I'm always, when I come up to bat, really, no matter the situation, I always get very stressed out, and there's been more than one time where I have second guessed my own thought, and then I'm wrong. So my topic is from a batter and pitcher point of view. What stresses you guys out the most when you're in the game, and how do you cope with that stress? Or
Total, just before we
yeah.
start, we sent the St. Croix Salty Seamen. We all, banded together and we pitched in to buy you a therapist, and we sent them to your house. And, we haven't heard back from them. So I just wanted to check to make sure that they got there. And if they did, what did you do to them?
This is this is a really funny thing where so my wife's work has like this free therapy thing where it's like this like 6 short sessions, and she was like, you should start going to that. And I'm like, yeah, I should, and I have not yet. So I don't know where the salty semen therapy therapist went, but I don't think they showed up at my house yet. Let me out.
I think Total
Let
killed
me
her. I
out
think
of
Total killed
here.
her. That's what happened.
He
Yeah,
chewed her
we're
out.
gonna hide it for you. Yeah.
You know me.
Chomp
We're gonna
chomp.
cover up the crime for you. So.
Thanks. So, I guess whoever wants to speak first can. But yeah, what makes you most anxious when you're at bat or up to pitch? And what are some ways you have found to kind of cope with that going on?
So maybe I'll go first because in contrast to you, Total, I don't really feel a lot of stress or anxiety. And that's not just in MLR, but like in my everyday life. I I've never really been one to really stress out. There's obviously moments in life where you do have anxiety and stress out. So I'm not saying that I'm some sort of like non-human robot thing, but for the most part, allow a lot of little things to just like roll off my back. And I do that by sort of making myself the butt of the joke. And as I've talked about quite a bit now, I love to uh, talk shit and goose people up and tempt the fates a bit. And that is kind of like my way of getting ahead of feeling stress and anxiety because if everything's a big joke, then you don't have to worry about it too much. So, like, by tempting the gods, I instead of feeling anxiety and stress, I can sort of place the blame of me doing bad upon fate is treating me wrong because I tempted fate. And so that way it's like not my problem because it's something else out there that is doing it to me rather than me not doing what I think I need to do and then, you know, loading the bases or letting up a home run. So that's kind of a way I cope with it, but it's something I've always sort of felt. My wife yells at me all the time. She's like, "Why don't you get upset about this?" Or "Why aren't you feeling anxiety like I'm feeling it?" It's like I don't know. I don't really get that sense. I don't feel that. I know that's probably going to make a lot of people upset, but it's true. Like I certainly feel stress and anxiety in big moments in life when it's called for, but not with everyday small stressors. So with MLR, if things are going bad, I'll definitely internalize it and I'll feel bad about myself, but not to the point where I'm freaking out and have to step away. If anything, it sort of like hones me into obsessing more about what's coming next.
Yeah, I'm pretty
Must be
much the same
nice.
way
Must be nice.
where I don't really get stressed to that level over most of life.
To
Like,
be fair, that stress was only for the completing the game in a single day.
Well, and that was a certain
That was a
specific
very
you were
factor.
putting the stress on
yeah.
yourself willingly there.
Yes, I was.
Yeah.
No, but like grad school finals week, I thought my hair was gonna fall out. But
Right.
like in MLR at bat, like I'll submit my swing and then I'll walk away from my computer because I can't stand the waiting between submitting the swing and the result.
Same.
But
Same.
other than that, like you can only control what you can control, and like I have written so much code trying to scout people and none of it works. So uh, at the moment, it's I'll use the scouting that I have and I'll submit my swing, and then there's nothing else I can do about it.
I'm a little like CJ here. I mean, in life, the big things do not stress me. As a matter of fact, it's kind of I don't know why this is the case, but if something big happens, I kind of enter some. I sort of disassociate from myself and go into a total practical, how can I solve this kind of thing. But little stuff where it doesn't require me to take that step back really drives me crazy. I don't know why that happens. It's probably genetic. It might be fate, like DVD said. But like Colt says, I mean, I worked so hard. I mean, you guys must remember. I worked so hard, learned Python, learned how to make an app, learned how to make predictive modeling in that first like 2 weeks to figure out the game. I mean, I just sat and thought about it for, 14 days straight. I mean, I just lost my job, so I had time to kill. I had my energy and ambition from like work, just like I had nowhere to put that energy and focus. So the more I worked at it, the worse I got. And I was like, this is the opposite of everything that I know about myself, how my work ethic tends to pan out. And you remember, I mean, you all must remember, and we talked about it last podcast, how fucking enraged I was at the game. And I think that's what helped me the most, answering your question, Total. The thing that helped me the most is having a fucking nightmare. The very first thing that happened to me, and everything after that is just sort of like, you know what, it can't get worse than that. And so I think, getting punched in the face instead of being immediately successful was probably the best possible thing that could have happened to me, because the past few games have been great. I got myself in another messy situation coming in as a long reliever in the last Rays game. I really could have spun out there. I immediately got hit. It was a 2-0 game. The Rays currently don't score a lot of runs per game. The last game that they scored a lot of runs was the one where I also gave up that same amount of runs, and so I was like, very nervous. But I was like, you know what? I gotta power through it. Anyway, I ended up getting out of there. We won the game, and I was like, okay, you did exactly what you could. And just like Colt says, you can only control what you can control, and I think that has been really helpful for me. And focusing on that has been sort of my saving grace.
I think it's so I read a lot of like philosophy in regards to Stoicism, which is one of my favorite branches, and the idea that you can't control the things in life that happen to you. All you can control is how you think about them. So if you take a mindset that whatever things outside of my control happen to me, they don't impact my state of mind. I only control how I feel, whether that's happy, sad. Now, obviously, that's a branch of philosophy that has some holes in it, and when you're dealing with everyday life, that doesn't always necessarily apply. But I try to keep that in mind. So if someone hits a home run off me, I could say, wow, I feel horrible. I don't want to do this anymore. I want to run away. Or I can say, you know what? That stinks, but I bet I can get them on the next one. And then you just kind of keep moving forward, keep taking that next step. I think that's important, especially when pitching, at least, because if you're going to get to a point sometimes where you say, I don't want to do this anymore, please take me out. But as we discussed in the last episode, I try not to fall into that hole. I want to keep digging my way out, like a no, dig up, stupid type situation.
Yeah, in Stoicism. I'm sorry, I'm a big Stoic fan as well, and my background in my grad school is philosophy. It's Russian philosophy, so there's not a lot of happiness to it. But in
Right.
Stoicism, one of the things that Marcus Aurelius talks about is like the dichotomy of control, which is exactly that: focus on what's within your control and external events. But also, one of the things that we probably all do on a daily basis is sort of a maybe not all of us, but I think a natural coping mechanism is the rational analysis of events, which is like, you got to separate facts from emotional interpretation. So like we're all talking, if I get hit really hard, I can sit there and be like, I fucked that up. I didn't do good enough. I feel like I screwed that up. But if you take a step back and you separate sort of the objective reality from your subjective reality, which is hard to do because we're all seeing the world through our sort of lens, subjective lenses. But you can say, you know what, they guessed the right number. That, I mean, if you just break it, if you reduce it to what actually happened, they guessed the right number. They might have done it from your pattern. So what can you do? Go change your patterns, and then that takes a little bit of the sting out of it. And then the other thing that Marcus Aurelius talks about is voluntary discomfort, where you allow yourself to sit with the discomfort of a negative outcome, and you build up the muscle to deal with that kind of thing rationally, but also emotionally. And I think that is such a strong branch of philosophy, or like mindset to keep with you, especially in a game that is mostly luck.
Yeah, and as someone who's not a philosophy person, at all, I am the engineer person. It's hard for me to like internalize any of this because you can go throw the greatest pitch in the world. Nobody in their right mind would ever guess, 620. And then the dude on the other side just comes in and guesses the amount of viewers that the Twitch stream he's watching has. And oh, it's 620, you lose. Like
Right.
there's no way you can really do anything about any of this.
I want to hear a
Yeah,
Cole's
I
thoughts
think
there.
that. Sorry. I think that a lot of people forget that this is a game of imperfect information, and by the way that it works, where there's a 1/3 chance basically of getting on base for every single pitch, um, even if you have set up your patterns in a way where you're baiting a swing, and you throw something else, like CJ said, that they could just completely disregard any scouting and just swing what they want to, and that could happen to be where you've thrown your secretive pitch. um and sometimes you're like, wow, did they like really scout that well? Like, it's you don't have any way of knowing what they did in order to pick that swing, right? Like, you can find out after the fact, maybe, like, we exchanged some scouting information during FCB, like after the fact, like, oh, this was the read when we hit a home run against Copernicus. This was the read when we had that walk off against DVD, and with the one against DVD, we found out that, like, he wasn't you weren't even like picking based off the pattern. You looked at something in your room, right, like a movie or something, and you picked a number, and
Yeah, I picked
we just happened to
the
to do a scouting read that lined up with that.
the GIF that I chose was from an Akira Kurosawa movie, and I used that GIF to taunt you guys. And then I picked the year that movie was released. And I just
Yeah.
picked 3 digits out of the year, and you just happened to be looking at that same like range of numbers.
That's so funny.
So
Right way. There's no secret to crack, except maybe don't pitch a one when there's men on base. That seems like a general rule you want to follow.
I do it a lot.
Yeah. So
Logistical question. Sorry, everybody. I accidentally left the web app chat. Is that going to hurt our recording? Did I need to be in there?
I don't think you talked in the time I saw you out of it.
I think
I was
you're
going to bring
fine,
it up,
yeah.
but you've rejoined before you started talking again.
I
So,
think you're fine. Yeah.
Okay, but if let's say I did pop out of it, would that have affected?
I mean, your audio will be worse for a little bit.
Okay, all right,
You'll be
cool.
fine.
Sorry, let's keep going.
Yeah, it'll work.
So Copernicus, back into Stoicism, I would prefer if the opposing team hits a home run off of me rather than off of my teammate, right? Because of the idea that instead of saying how unfortunate I was that this happened to me, instead I try to say how fortunate it was that it happened to me because I can overcome it and stand tall and throw the next pitch and the next pitch after that, right? So there's that kind of feeling for me when I go in. Like, I'd rather the opposing team hit a home run off of me rather than the guy who comes in to relieve me, because I know I can cope with that, and I don't know what anyone else's headspace is like. So sort of like that, be the Rocky promontory rather than when a home run gets hit off of me and I'm feeling horrible about myself. I can sort of step beyond that and say, well, I'm resilient enough to absorb that home run and continue pitching.
Yeah, there's something really interesting there about the transference of culpability, right? Like, if if I can't control what's happening to anybody else, and therefore, arguably I shouldn't be. I'm not responsible for them. I mean, this is a. I don't actually feel this way. I just think this is like the philosophical approach to that from a
Yeah.
Stoic perspective. Like, you're not responsible for other people, so you can only be responsible for yourself, and therefore you are more comfortable in situations in which your actions only affect yourself. Because and sort of the ideal state, you are only responsible for yourself. Of course, when you're reading leadership, Stoics, again, Marcus Aurelius is a Roman emperor, so he had to worry about other people. But I think when he started talking about internal issues, he was glad that he didn't have to deal with himself. So I think that there's something very interesting about being able to control that for yourself. I do think that there is, like, I mean, last time we talked about how I felt bad because I was putting my teammates in a bad position by giving up runs and then like they had to bring in another pitcher and he had to deal with my shit. I probably start to think about personally other areas of I don't know, positive psychology, but
Hmm.
yeah, I think that it takes real effort and mindfulness to sort of invoke a word that's being overused nowadays by like Headspace and all the other uh, wellness culture in America. But I do think there's a mindfulness about saying, okay, I am going to do what's best for me, and hopefully, what is best for me is best for the team. And then you don't have to, but I think it's smart to be like, and whatever else other people are dealing with, they're going to have to go through that on their own, and I will be here as a support mechanism for them if you choose to do that. So
Yeah.
yeah, I
I
agree. I would rather put myself in bad positions than other people, and I think that's why it hurts so bad when I don't control my own emotions.
And maybe
I
it's part of being a parent too, because like when I see my daughter sick or my daughter in pain, I'm like, I wish I could reach in, take that out, and put it inside of me instead, because I know I could cope with it better than she could. That's sort of a mentality.
I also feel like too a part of my problem is being the first overall pick where there's times where I'm like I feel like I need to be doing more cuz like if you check my stats now, they're bad. Um I have not got a hit since the first game. But also though cuz I'm a very big um scout room guy. So I'm scouting a lot of at bats all the time, just to try to pick up on like pitchers' patterns more. Um, and in this last game we had against uh, Atlanta, we were tied going into the seventh, and I was a part of that team or a part of the scouting group that scored um, the game-winning run. I didn't have a hit that game, but it did though. But it still felt good to be like I was still a part of this win, even though my own stats don't reflect that at all.
Hmm.
But I cause and also like the from going from like because like when you guys pitch, you're involved in every at bat, and then from a batter's point of view who might not scout, like they're like, okay, I've got one swing at that, and then I need to wait until like two or three more or like two more innings for my next at bat. But when you scout, I like at least for me, I'm trying to be a part of every at bat. One to like soak up as much info as I can to learn more about certain players who have been around in a long time in the league who might have certain tendencies. And two to just overall become like a bigger part of my team. Because our scouting room talks all day when we're in games, which is for me going from FCB to um, MLR is really fun.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
But yeah, I do think that there is some for me there is some stress that like I try to not let get to me about being the first overall pick, because I know that was a time when I got put in where we got put into the game of the moment. It was my um at bat, and Teddy DM'd me and was like, hey, don't listen to what other people say, even if you don't do well in the at bat, you're still fine, which was good for him to say because it was one of the worst at bats that I've had. So, but no, yeah, because and going from what CJ had said, where he'll like put in his swing and then just leave. I do the exact same thing because I feel like my heart starts to pound when I'm like, come on, where's the post? Where's the home run or RBI ding on my on Discord? And then when I don't see it, I'm like, oh fuck, okay,
And
never
then
mind.
ground into double play.
Yeah, that's
Yeah, which
that's
I've
pretty much
dude,
how I feel as well.
I have grounded into 2 or 3 double plays. It's been bad, but
I would say that that is my main source of stress in MLR is the wait between the swing and the result. And I am not clever enough to get up and walk away. Partially because setting up with my laptop on the couch is a bit of an ordeal, and I don't want to have to set it down, walk away, sit back down with the laptop again. So I sit there and I refresh the Reddit thread a million times until the result comes through. That is my coping mechanism. Is I just sit there and I let my heart pound and I wait for the result. And you know what? It's not been that bad because I've actually been hitting pretty well.
You've been on a
MLR
tear
compared to FCB. So it's been fine. I guess my other source of stress in MLR is that I've kind of had an inverse of my FCB trends where I did the scouting for FCB and it worked out very well for my teammates every time, but anytime I was up to bat, I was not able to actually get on base at all. And now it's the inverse. It seems that I'm scouting quite well for myself, but when I try to scout for my team, I end up being wrong. And so that's a little stressful in that I feel like I'm letting my team down. But I guess it balances out because I'm doing well for myself. So I want my team to win. I want to contribute to that and scout for people. Obviously, it's hard to do with the time zone difference because a lot of at-bats happen while I'm asleep. But that was true in FCB as well. And yeah, I mean, I need to get back on that level of scouting for my team and contribute, and I want to accomplish that and do well in that sense. And when I don't do that, that does kind of suck.
I really love the times when you've got like a few people who are like, well, I think that they're gonna go to this certain spot or like this certain spot, and you get like 2 or 3 ideas, and then the swing and pitch come in, and you're all wrong. You're like, oh, okay, yeah. Never mind, I guess.
So
some of my FCB scouting reads were like that, like this says he could go here, this says he could go here, this says he could go here. But Cole, that's the whole range. I know. Yeah.
I
went down a little more.
Yeah, I was when I was in FCB, I would kind of almost like talk out loud through text. So I'd be like, okay, guys, I'm gonna start here, and I'm gonna kind of just work my way through the process. And there's multiple times where like Salsa Steve or Matt would be like, total, you just gave like 9 ideas, and I'm like, I know, now I need to go and find which ones I think are the best ideas. Hold on,
my write-ups were quite silly. My write-ups were like narrated or otherwise like conversational. It was a good time.
So
that's what mine were like in FCB as well, because you want everybody to sort of benefit from everybody's logic. So it's like in the military, for example, they'll call you out and tell you why you're wrong in front of everybody. And I mean, so they say not to embarrass you, but so everybody can learn from the same mistake. But I actually do find that to be helpful. The problem is, people get lost in the narrative, and then all of a sudden, somebody swings, and you're like, well, why didn't you do the third thing I said? And you're like,
that has occurred where I do need to like specifically say in Oakland. Sometimes I'm like okay, here's my first idea, but I'm not done yet. Hold on, wait, hold the swing,
That's why
please.
I would. That's why I would wait to type up everything at the same time and send it.
Yeah, but
Smart.
then
That's
for
smart.
me, it would be like 5 giant paragraphs, and they'd all be like, "What the fuck are you?" And then they would all be wrong, and I'm like, "Yeah, okay."
That's what my scouting reads were. They were giant paragraphs, and at the end, I said TLDR. This is what I think you should swing. Like, or I give a couple options. Like, if you prefer this logic,
Maybe I
swing
should
this.
start
If you
that.
prefer this logic, swing this. And that's
When,
that's
when
what
I
I
had
did. Like that.
when
Our
I had my
our
predictive
clubhouse, our
model.
Boise State clubhouse is
Okay.
full of that.
Sorry, Cole. I didn't mean to step on your toes there.
No worries.
When I had my predictive model, I mean, when I was really using it, for that, basically for a session and a half, what I would do in scouting is be like, here's what the model says, here's what I think, and make sure that I had two little line items where I had predictive model colon 573. Here's what I think, human thoughts colon 145 or whatever. So that way there was people could read if they wanted to the logic, but if they really just needed to pop in, they're at dinner with their partner, make a swing and get out of there, they could find it. They could find it easily.
Yeah, I will never forget in one of our MILR games, me and you, Copernicus, were talking about a swing that I had, and then you gave me an idea, and I straight up went, "No, I'm not gonna go with that." And then I swung, and I got a home run. We were like, "Well, okay, cool."
Yeah, that was. I was really proud of you, and good job.
CJ, do you remember in the Bobcats clubhouse? I'm pretty sure that Leo and Strawberry, they would just let us vibe on scouting and didn't really give
Pretty
us
much, yeah.
too much
Yeah,
like, oh, this was wrong because of X. They were just like, we want to see how you guys sort it out.
Like, you guys will get that you're wrong when you ground into a double play.
yeah,
But
Yeah,
you'll learn.
you'll know.
yeah,
Yeah,
Well,
you'll
which
figure
is
it out.
which because I mean, like in with this too, I feel like it is better to learn through making those mistakes than being told you're wrong before it even occurs. Because then, because like for me, whenever I like, if I like strike out or if I get like a 400 plus diff, I'm like, okay, where did I go wrong in the info, and what could have led me in this opposite direction? And there's been a few times where I'm like, okay, specifically in this Atlanta game, there were a few things I picked up as the game went on, which then led to us getting multiple hits at the end. And I feel like I'm finally starting to see these tendencies before the game's done, which is a cool thing to watch occur in time.
and that's a big reason why I've been a big fan of the batting practice Google Sheets that I put together. And I think it's the reason why I have a T1 base streak at the moment after going 0 for whatever to start the season. Is going and getting to take 30 at bats against a guy and then going, oh, this is why I was wrong. Oh, this is why I was wrong. Oh, this is why I was wrong. Over and over again until I can get it right more often than not.
It's brilliant.
CJ's about to take over the entire league.
Oh, if I bat 300, I'll be happy.
I will too.
Yeah.
We can't
So,
all bat 500 like Cole is right now.
so CJ, you said you also don't really feel stress about this stuff. Have you? So I don't know if you're like me, but I've sort of learned over the years to really savor anticipation and suspense. I don't know if that's just like my personality or a learned habit. Do you experience the same thing? Like when I submit my pitch and I see that I'm waiting for the hit number to come in, I'm just like getting more and more excited with anticipation rather than like stressed out and worried. Do you feel that same thing?
Not really. I'm more of a, okay, I submitted it. Why does it take 3 minutes to do the result? Please, for the love of God, hurry up. Why?
Okay.
But no, that's a big reason why I've been working on the scouting bot for Discord for so much lately. Is I feel like it's a way where I can affect the game even when I'm at work and can't be on my phone, or somebody's swinging
Mm.
while I'm asleep. it's helps the team out in a way that I can't do by myself all the time.
Everyone's going to want to trade for your scouting considerations.
Dude, it doesn't work.
Dan.
Yet.
No,
Dan, there's
hopefully.
you're supposed to say it works right now, CJ.
We're 2-3. I don't think I can say, hey, we're scoring so many runs.
That's not that bad.
What were you saying, Copernicus?
I was trying to ask you to repeat what you were taking pleasure in. I missed part of it.
Yeah, it's I've learned to really savor and like anticipation and suspense. So those huge moments where like everything's on the line and it could shake out one way or the other. To me it's kind of like gambling almost, and I kind of like gambling. So maybe that's where it comes from, but it's like that rush of waiting for the moment, and then it's all the build up to it, and then the moment happens, and it's that ecstatic release or that crush defeat, and it's all those like endorphins wrapped up into one thing, one like sort of feeling.
I mean, that's voluntary discomfort. I mean, if you like the Stoics, you're doing it.
I love it. And I don't know if it comes from like movies or like, gambling on FanDuel or, or just
Yeah.
who I am in general as an addictive personality. I don't know.
I can't wait to one episode in the future to hear the slot machines from DVD's mic.
Ka-ching, 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 ka-ching.
Don't worry,
guys.
Like,
I was having trouble coping, so I went to Vegas, and I'm taking all my at bats and from Vegas. So at least when I do well, I can, attribute it to where I'm at.
The all new DVD pitching strategy is not to give up a hit, but to go and hit the slots.
Yeah,
we joke about it now, but in future episodes, Dan's like, he's like, you know what? Guys, I have to do the podcast from the table. I'm on a streak right now. It's a losing streak, but I think I can get back in with this. And every concurrent episode is like, guys, I'm doing this from the street. My wife kicked me out, but look, I've been really digging into the discomfort of pitching.
I need someone
and we're like, Jesus.
to scout these cards. Please scout the cards for me.
Cole, you might be able to save my life if you can ship me a pachinko machine.
Well, come visit. We have a pachinko parlor.
Is it filled with cigarette smoke? Because that's the best kind.
It's actually not. It's actually not.
I want to be at the pachinko parlor where it's like all the old ladies and it's just filled with cigarette smoke and stale beer.
That might be what I need to do to calm my nerves. While I
smoke cigarettes?
No. Go to the parlor.
Well, be the change you want to see in the world, Total. I mean, be the change.
Yeah.
Oh.
Okay, so the big question was, I think we all kind of hit it now, our anxieties. What else do we get? What else is on the table today?
Well, there's not much time left. That was.
Well, maybe we want to talk about something good that happened to us. What have we all like really done? Maybe we can do some shout outs and stuff.
Shout out to the Oakland A's scouting room for dealing with me trying to scout every swing, even when I'm very, very wrong. It makes me feel good that they're still like, yeah, it's okay. We can just keep on going and find the next at bat, which has worked. So, shout out to my team.
I've dealt with some adversity not only in pitching but in MLN. I started off like my first two games with a legitimate claim to maybe Rookie of the Year in the conversation at least, and then I immediately, as soon as somebody, actually it was after I was sat, I just immediately, I've basically been 0-8 with one walk since then. So I deal with success almost worse than I deal with adversity, which means I just get worse. However, in MLR, come on, I got that triple and home run, or MILR, in the last game, so that was a big win. Pretty excited about that.
Shout out
So
to
shout
Salty
out to
Seaman.
my team for dealing with a flash of the pan success. Also, thanks for to the Rays for letting me come in and have some long relief to build up my confidence again. That was my feel good of the week. How about everybody else?
Hey, shout out to the Jays for dealing with my scouting bot that turned out to be basically a random number generator.
Yeah, hell yeah.
And shout out to the people in MLR who keep stirring up drama and giving me something entertaining to read.
It is fun.
You know
Not
what?
gonna lie. Oh yeah, shout out to Copernicus for trying to ignite more drama almost every single day. I
I
like
got
it.
tired of being sort of a whiny guy about I mean, when I originally joined, I kind of like that's the reason I chose like the devil, like a devilly character, because I want to be kind of a shit disturber, not malicious but mischievous,
Yeah.
and the job hunt, this whole, I mean, obviously I've talked about it now over on this episode, maybe in chat, but like that really took me by surprise and kind of like took me away from fake baseball in a way that I wanted to be for a little bit, and so I'm kind of like, you know what? Don't worry about succeeding. Just go have fun in there. And yeah, so I will be stirring up some shit, and I hope everybody likes it because watching you get upset by it is sort of the goal, in a nice way.
I enjoy it because I am also a habitual line stepper, so I like
Hell
seeing
yeah.
when other people step as well. And I think for my shout out, I have to give it up to my former Bobcats teammate Alexis Texas Ranger for shutting out the Cubs this week, complete game, and
killed it.
allowing the Cardinals to win 1-0. That was an
Hell yeah,
incredible
fuck the
performance by
Cubs.
ATR. The Cubs are a nice team, but they just happen to be the
No, we
opponent
hate the
this week.
Cubs. Damn it. We hate the Cubs. What are you doing?
Why would you hate the Cubs?
We are Cardinals fans.
We?
We are Cardinals fans. We're here rooting for you. We
DVD
hate the Cubs.
DVD in real life is
Okay.
a Red Sox fan.
Oh, you mean an MLR Cardinals fan? I thought
Oh,
you
no,
meant
I meant
real
real life.
baseball.
That's what I mean.
I don't hate the Cubs in real life.
Okay, well, I want every Cub listening to this podcast. I hate you with every fiber of my being, and I will seek your destruction every second, every hour of the day. And then after I destroy you, I'm finding your family.
You
Shout
say
out.
that like anybody's
Damn.
actually going to make it into this 40-minute
I think
episode of
that's-
this.
Yeah.
I think that's why
Hey,
I'm
I'm
okay
just-
being so.
I'm just sitting here like,
If-
man, Cubs are like my second favorite team.
if people can do the 2-hour top 5, we should be okay. I believe in us. What are Cole's shout outs for the episode?
I'm gonna shout out Captain Trash for being better than me. He's sitting at a nice comfy 600 average.
Holy
We
hell.
were neck and neck for a little bit, but I have more RBIs, so yeah, I think I'm pretty good.
Oh, and he beat me in Dome. Man, yeah.
Yep.
That's fair.
Captain Trash is yeah, he's excellent. He's, I'm sure, gonna be an all-star again this year. Let's see. Also, shout out to Penguino and also the Montreal Expos. Kat decided that she was not having the best time in the Detroit clubhouse and wanted a change of scenery. So Penguino agreed to release her, and then Montreal picked her up off waivers, and I think she's gonna have a good time over there. She's really happy with the people that she's been able to chat with so far, and I think she's gonna enjoy it.
Woo, go Cat.
Go Cat. Shout out Penguino too for in our RSS feeds and MILR. I will punch him during games all the time, and the entire team sees it every single game. So thanks for dealing with me every day. Well, cool. Next episode it will be Cole's question, I believe.
Yep.
Any preview, Cole?
Ooh.
Yeah, what are we thinking about?
I've not permanently decided yet. It's not set in stone. But I was thinking about talking about work-life balance, as it were, in the context of MLR.
Oh, no.
But I'm not completely set on that yet.
It's going to be a
All
real
right.
cathartic episode, I think. Yeah.
Yes.
Well, cool. Well, we will see you all guys next time during the next top of the 10th. Bye, everyone.
Goodbye,
Have a
everybody. Love you,
great
except Cubs.
Bye.
weekend.
Bye bye.
Bye.